The following is a presentation of Cartoon Network Sports.
What a season it's been. Hello, everybody. I'm Len Dawson, along with Nick Bonacani and Jerry Glanville, welcoming you to the Sylvester versus Tweety pregame show. We have a lot to talk about, Jerry Glanville, so quickly, your impressions of these two very impressive teams.
Impressive is right, Lenny. In all my years of professional coaching, I've never seen two more disciplined competitors than Sylvester and Tweety. Two very different player styles, two very different backgrounds, two very different species, should make a real good ball game.
And you're very definitely into twos, Jerry.
Twos are my thing.
Hey, one man predicted this matchup last year on this very same program. We thought he was crazy.
He is crazy.
He is crazy, but he was right. He is seated immediately to my right, Mr. Nick Bonacani.
No, I don't want to say I told you so, guys.
But I told you so.
Today's game should be a real treat. A real treat, I tell you. On the one hand, we have a classic battle of Darwinian proportions.
Darwinian.
And on the other hand, we have two teams who obliterated last year's powerhouses, Tomcat and Jerry Mouse. Oh, it's going to be one heck of a game, gentlemen. Look at me, I'm salivating.
Get him a bib. Give him a bib.
Give me a bib.
Darwinian proportions. I'll tell you what, Nick, you've been watching PBS again, haven't you?
Hey, I've been watching these two teams all season long there, Glanville. Jerry, I know what I'm talking about. You'll see, you'll see.
Hey, we'll all get a chance to see as we spend most of the day watching game films from earlier matchups of Sylvester and Tweety. And we'll also discuss what happened to last year's winner and loser. You're watching the Sylvester versus Tweety pregame show. We'll be back after this break.
Meet Eddie. You don't want to know where that tongue's been.
New Sunday at 10:30 on Cartoon Network. Ed, and Eddie.
I thought I saw a pudding cat.
Nick, tell me, just how much pressure are they both feeling right before today's game?
I'll tell you, Lenny, there's a lot of pressure in this ball game. You know, I sat and talked with Tweety and Sylvester and asked them if they considered a win today to be a do or die for their careers.
Yeah?
You know, Tweety said he's never seen too many birds live after being eaten and digested.
No kidding.
Yeah. And Sylvester, he said he just wants to win one for all the cats who never had a chance to eat a bird with that much meat on his head.
Well, I'll be darned. You know, certainly words that I don't think I've ever heard before. Hey, we'll be back in just a moment.
Eat you will or eat you ain't my baby. Maybe baby's found somebody new. But they don't think my baby is still my baby true.
Some say the truest test of any fan is how they cheer for their hero when they have little reason to do so. But when it comes to big matchups like today, the truest test can be found in something called a parking lot. Yes, we're talking big-time professional tailgating, ladies and gentlemen, where fans' eyes are often bigger than Art Donovan's stomach. Let's go outside and see what has Tweety and Sylvester fans loosening their belts. Our own Fred Khalil is on the scene.
Thanks, Len. First, let me say this is not your typical tailgate party. These Sylvester fans
have some unique tastes. Put away your hot dog buns here in Sylvester country because it is fish all the way. Look over here. These guys got the grill going. We've got a huge tuna with garnishment. How about some grouper? Sardines. Little orange ruppy. Goldfish over here. We even have some black mollies. And that guy in the middle is some koi. Now, most of the Sylvester fans prefer fish of the uncooked variety. But I did see one fan sucking back an entire jar of pickled herring. It's not my cup of tea, but they say it's a real thirst quencher. Now let's go back over here. Excuse me, you grouper groupie. Look at this. We've got cartons of delicious milk, and that is certainly a thirst quencher. So everybody seems to have enough to drink. They certainly seem well fed. Len, things are great on this side of the parking lot. Let's go back to you.
Well, tell me, Fred, have you seen anyone eating store-bought cat food?
You know, I did see some empty bags of the chicken and salmon flavored treats, but I didn't actually see anybody actually eating those treats.
Boy, I love fish.
You don't have to tell me. I could smell you from here.
Ah, come on, Nick.
What are Tweety fans eating before the big game? That's what I want to know.
Well, Len, they may be licking their whiskers on the other side of the parking lot, but I've got to tell you, if you're going to make this trip over here, you might want to eat a big breakfast. And don't be afraid to load up on the sausages. I'm going to tell you why, because you're going to starve at this little tea party. Look, we've got birdseed, yuck, poppy seed, sunflower seed. Oh, but for you meat lovers, we have juicy, tasty earthworms. Man, I have not seen this kind of tailgating since the days when I covered Cal Berkeley. I don't even see a grill or anything that would even suggest a decent fat burn. You know, it's been said oftentimes that the quickest way to a fan's heart is through his stomach. Well, they're taking it literally over here on this side of the parking lot because they don't have anything in those stomachs to slow them down on the trip into the stadium. Let's go back to you guys.
You know what my dad used to say? Either eat it or wear it.
I can see you in sunflower seeds, man.
But not before Labor Day, folks. We're going to be back in just a bit.
Watch Ed. Watch Ed. No. Over here. Just read the line. Watch Ed, and Eddie. Go on Cartoon Network.
I'm Sherry's best friend.
Okay.
New Monday at 8 on Cartoon Network. Ed, and Eddie.
I can name 3 cheeses.
Thank you.
Now back to Lem, Nick, and Jerry and the Sylvester versus Tweety pregame show.
Everybody knows when it comes to true sports fans, there is no such thing as subtlety. Right now, Fred Khalil is somewhere in the middle of a few of those fans who seem to be fairly animated themselves. Fred?
Well, Len, they told me this was supposed to be neutral territory for Tweety and Sylvester, but I got to tell you, it is more like a war zone here today. These fans are excited, and why not? They have waited a long time to get to this point, and they are ready to see some fur, feathers, whichever the case may be, fly here today. Earlier, I went out into this crowd and talked to some of the fans to get their thoughts on today's big game. Oh, we have some Sylvester fans here lapping up some pregame drinks. Your thoughts?
Got milk?
Oh, boy, a comedian. What is your name? And what's your name? And who are you? You know what? Wait a minute. You know, you seem to show up everywhere.
Oh, yeah, man. Wherever the game is, that's where I'm going to be. Baby, all right. Yeah.
How do you find the camera? That's what I want to know.
Well, hey, man, the camera finds me. Hey, all right.
Unbelievable. Well, understand that you have a dance chop, Tweety's.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Let's see it.
All right.
Excuse me, what's your name? W. Well, no matter how this game turns out, one thing's for sure. Somebody is going to be in the catbird seat tonight. Back to you guys.
Man, I'll tell you what, I never thought I'd ever seen anything that made the Hagettes look cute.
Well, I'm not sure which is more frightening, Nick, facing a front line of Butkus, Dobler, and Nitschke, or being a waiter in that crowd.
Hey, if I had a few more that looked like that, they'd be naming streets after me in Atlanta right now.
They already do. You just don't want to drive your car down them.
But you know, I can't believe I'm seeing so many fired-up Tweety fans. They've not exactly been filling up the seats throughout the playoffs.
That's because all those blue-blooded Tweety fans are spoiled. They've dominated all year. It's like, oh, another win. We can still get in 18 holes before tea time. But you look at the rough-tongued Sylvester fans, they're screaming. They're licking each other's heads. They're having furball fights in the aisle. They're just happy to be alive in this thing. You talk about those empty seats for Tweety? I heard Sylvester fans say there hasn't been an empty seat for Sylvester since 23. And that's when a girder beam fell and wiped out a whole section.
Well, judging by that crowd, I think that girder beam must have bounced off a few heads before it hit the ground. Hey, folks, we're going to be back in just a bit.
Meet Ed. He uses Post-it notes to remind himself to buy more Post-it notes.
Monday at 8 on Cartoon Network. Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
Oh, see, look at her. Look at Cal. What do you see? Udders. Say it. Say it with me. Udders. I don't have a problem saying the word udders. And you know what? Neither does Cal. You see udders, don't you? Star quality udders. But why don't we look beyond the udders? Why don't we look behind the udders at the smart, funny, talented young lady with udders?
Cow and Chicken, weeknights at 8:30.
Udders. Sometimes it helps if you repeat it.
Now back to Sylvester versus Tweety on Cartoon Network.
Once upon a time, a little kitten had a dream. A dream to be the best darn cat in the world. Once upon that very same time, a little birdie had an eerily similar dream. However, he substituted the word bird for cat. For years, these two dreams peacefully coexisted. Each dream carrying its respective dreamer to greater and greater heights of achievement and personal glory. But today, this soft-focused, rose-tinted view of life will come to an end. For today, these two dreams and these two dreamers are on a collision course with destiny. Today, Sylvester the Cat and Tweety Bird will join the pantheon of heroes this planet lionizes and rewards with lucrative merchandising agreements. Two warriors, two species, one field. Think of the biggest event of your life. Dublin. Then add two. And you still wouldn't have the magnitude of this matchup. Today it's Sylvester versus Tweety. And the world will never be the same.
The following is a presentation of Cartoon Network Sports.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the big game, Sylvester versus Tweety. I'm Pat Summerall, together with John Madden, bringing you the classic battle of cat versus bird. Friz-Freeling Coliseum is packed with screaming fans, and we're about to get underway.
I'm telling you, Pat, today is a great day for a battle such as this.
the skies are clear, and the pollen count is low.
John, how do these two teams match up?
Pat, on paper, you have to give it to Sylvester. Then again, birds love paper.
All right, it looks like Sylvester will start on offense. And oh boy, that is one sharp-looking defensive line.
Sylvester's going to need a big play to beat that defense.
Well, Sylvester's out of the huddle, and he's got mischief in his eye.
Anytime you see a cat carrying plumbing supplies, I don't care who you are, you better sit up and take notice.
It looks like Tweety's defense is napping. This could get ugly, folks.
You said it, Pat. Sylvester is getting his aerial attack started early.
He usually doesn't go to the corset formation until the fourth quarter.
This is a good indication that Sylvester is turning his game up a notch. This cat is here to play.
I thought I told Tweety.
And that got Tweety's attention. Oh, wow, that's gotta hurt. And Tweety scores first.
And scores big, Pat. Let's take a look at this again in super-duper slow motion. Right here. See how Tweety stays in the pocket? That's poise, baby. Sylvester almost gets him here with an undisguised lunge at his weak side. But Tweety uses that great speed of his to break the tackle, get above the claws, and punch Sylvester, but good. Right in the old chompers.
Tweety's not through yet, John. He's unleashing an arsenal of weapons against Sylvester. This is getting ugly, but I can't look away.
Me? I'm just the opposite. I go to horror movies but close my eyes whenever a scary bit comes on.
If you miss the dramatic arc of the storyline, the denouement is pointless.
You're telling me.
Tweety with the bomb, and
Sylvester is in real trouble, and we're still in the first quarter.
Give this young cat credit. He's still sawing away at Tweety's defense, looking for an opening.
Now see, this is what makes Tweety so dangerous. He's dropping back, giving up a little yardage so he can regroup.
Don't look down, but Tweety's regrouping right into Sylvester's mouth. This game could end right here, ladies and gentlemen. We may be witnessing a huge upset.
Upset nothing. Tweety's called an audible. That rocket isn't for the 4th of July. Tweety could score big on this one, Pat.
Sylvester scrambles. There's a flag on the play, and yes, Tweety is being called for face masking.
You hate to see the officials ruin a perfectly good scoring drive like this one. I wish the replay rule was in effect this year. Tweety was nowhere near this play. The ref, Snagglepuss, really missed that call. I say boo!
The officials give the call to Sylvester, and play continues.
Looks like Sylvester's going for the biggest trick play in his playbook. The finger made up to look like a girl bird trick. When this works, it is huge. But when it doesn't, look out, Sylvester.
We're nearing the end of the first quarter, and look at how excited the little fella is.
Take a look at this big league painting technique. Sylvester has applied just the right amount of foundation. A touch of mascara to bring out those eyelashes, and a smidge of tasteful lipstick. Add the pink bonnet, and the whole outfit is tied together. If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Accessorize. It can really make the outfit, ladies.
It doesn't look like Tweety's falling for it. He switched formations.
This could spell trouble for Sylvester.
And it does. Score that as safety as Sylvester tries to walk it off. The seconds tick away and the first quarter is over. We'll be back with the second quarter after these messages.
Is you is or is you ain't my baby? Maybe baby's found somebody new. My baby is still my baby true.
Well, the second quarter is underway, and here comes Tweety.
You see here, Tweety's making a sweet little end run down the alley.
He looks a little confused here, John.
Look at that. That move was so quick, we got to slow it down for you. It looks like Tweety's in trouble, but he looks around, and there, he sees an opening and dives for the hole. Let's look at that again. That's experience talking, folks. He ran a new route, and he makes like a shuttlecock.
Sylvester's on to him, though.
Look at that steal. It's a good thing that badminton player came along when he did.
But like so much in this topsy-turvy world, it's a mixed blessing.
Oh, man. Tweety's getting smacked around something awful.
There's a good lob and an equally good forehand on the return.
This is crazy. What is this, Wimbledon? Pat, give me a heads up if you see that Bud Collins guy around, huh?
Will do, John. Tweety's in real trouble now. This is a good illustration of just how hard the life of a shuttlecock can be.
Tweety may not recover from this volley. Take a look at our slow-motion replay. Just look at the top spin on this birdie. Tweety lost some feathers here, here, and here.
Tweety does not fare as well when he's lost some feathers. This could be a big break for Sylvester.
Now Sylvester's banging the shuttlecock around. He's making his move.
That was a nice overhead smash from Sylvester. And it sends Tweety dogs over biscuits into the far court.
Sylvester's trying to end this thing right now. What an upset this would be if he actually swallowed Tweety.
This could be the end, but no. Tweety sees the defensive trap and releases the bomb.
I'm telling you, Tweety's got the quickest release in the league. And look at that accuracy.
That is one tight spiral.
Tweety is a pro, a real pro.
And that sends Sylvester scrambling once again.
This is a rookie mistake, Pat. Water will not stop this explosion. Sylvester should have hunkered down and taken the hit like a man.
And now he's stuck in the water cooler.
Chalk that one up to Tweety. Man, cats hate getting wet.
Cats also hate it when you rub their fur the wrong way.
And don't forget vacuum cleaners. Boy, does that bugger.
Well, it's back to the old drawing board for Sylvester.
Looks like it's another trick play.
Ah, yes, the old birdhouse for a head routine.
This is a classic. Of course, it was perfected by the Green Bay Packers way back in the 40s, but it still holds up.
Just like old episodes of The Gong Show and Shields and Yarnell. Now back to the action.
Tweety is so focused. Here he is, looking left, looking right, getting his game face on. Whoa, that is scary.
Looks like Tweety's falling for it.
Here's yet another opportunity for Sylvester to win this game with one big play.
This can't be good for Tweety. He's in Sylvester's mouth.
Looks like our feline friend here should floss a little more often. Look at the plaque and tartar here, here, and here. This is a molar. This is a wisdom tooth. And this funny-looking thing here is a uvula.
I have a crazy Aunt Uvula on my father's side. She used to come over and balance meat on her head while humming Fly Me to the Moon.
This could be the score that Sylvester needed right here.
No, there's Tweety. He has not broken the plane of the esophageal tract. Sylvester did not score.
This is unbelievable. All Sylvester needs to do is swallow. Now look at him. Tweety's turned the tables on him.
It's the dreaded locomotive play. Tweety's definitely in the driver's seat now.
Oh, man. Tweety is just railroading this poor cat. It's going to take a miracle for Sylvester to come back after that brother.
And there's the whistle. The score at the half is Tweety 37, Sylvester 3. Now back to Lynn, Nick, and Jerry in the studio.
Thank you, John and Pat. Well, gentlemen, if you're a Sylvester fan, you got to be wondering just how many ways there are to skin a cat. Last year it was Tom. This year it's Sylvester.
Well, there's been a lot written about this feline division being the weakest cartoon division, and Len, Sylvester is not exactly changing anybody's mind.
Well, let's take a look at the first half highlights. Early on, we see Tweety showing defense, even though it looked a little rusty.
Yeah, but Sylvester made a big mistake by pulling his guards, and boy, did he pay for that.
Then Sylvester goes to the air early and often.
Well, Tweety had taken away his ground game, Lenny, and here Tweety takes an advantage of an opening, and boom, he scores with a bomb.
Once again, we see Tweety using that strong line of his to bail him out.
I'll tell you, this bird's got more weapons than a Mississippi pickup. Tweety calls an audible, leaving Sylvester no time to react. And by the way, this is very important. If you're going to come with your game face on, make sure it stays on.
Good advice, good advice. Well, Nick wins the Dionne Warwick Award for predicting this one in pregame.
Well, that's one of Sylvester's biggest faults, predictability. You know, he's shown gingham before. He should have gone with a floral pattern or a silk weave.
This was the first bright spot for Sylvester.
And Sylvester misses a golden opportunity here by taking his eye off the bird. Here, Tweety drops the bomb that's been killing Sylvester all day.
Then right before half, Sylvester tries one last fake, but Tweety winds up right where he's been all day, inside Sylvester's head, and runs him right into a wall. That's pretty much all Sylvester has run into this entire first half, one wall after another.
Well, for Sylvester, the good news is it's still only halftime. Of course, the bad news is it's still only halftime.
And speaking of halftime, we certainly have one for you. When we come back, not every successful coach has a 5 o'clock shadow. Some have umbrellas and sensible shoes. Also, a special musical salute that you won't want to miss. Stay with us.
Equation. We all know he's smart. No doubt in my mind. He's figured it out. That's tough. But it's more than just smart. He's also got action. Boom. What was that? Boom. I don't know. What's going to happen? Boom. More action. You know? It's smarts in action. Smarts in action. Smaction.
Dexter's Laboratory, weeknights at 7:30.
I'm thinking action, adventure, you know, spin-off, but that's for later.
Now back to the Acme Halftime Show with Len, Nick, and Jerry.
They're often called sports' most unsung heroes. Their days often begin before sunrise and rarely end before darkness. And the X's and O's in their vocabularies rarely mean hugs and kisses. They are the coaches. And this very special halftime feature deals with a different kind of coach, one who believes sidelines are only a suggestion.
Brown, Lombardi, Hallis, Shula, Lamaze. Any discussion on the merits of coaching would be very incomplete without the mention of such hallowed names. And yet there is one coach who is rarely mentioned among the greats, and yet her name is spoken somewhere almost every minute of every day. That name is Granny. For over a quarter of a century, her brand of sweet and precious love has earned her the undying devotion of millions of fans. And for all of that time, fans have delighted in watching this grande dame de cartoons serve as both mentor and protector to Tweety. In fact, many have credited this sage in gray for being solely responsible for Tweety's continued success and ability to stay out of gastrointestinal jams. But like any sports icon, she is not without her critics. Some say her overprotective behavior of Tweety borders on overprotective behavior, and her tendency to whack, smash, or bash with a stick or an umbrella crosses the line. And more to the point, just not fair.
Well, certain players, and this is true of every sport, certain players are always going to get a little more elbow room than others when it comes to playing between the lines. I'm talking your Jordans, your Maddoxes, your Youngs, even your Flairs, but hey, they've earned it, and nobody's going to argue with that. But what steams my shorts about Tweety is he's got Granny doing most of his dirty work, and he's getting away with it. I mean, that size 8 print on Sylvester's backside didn't come from some 6-inch canary. It's like Ohio State and Clemson all over again, only she doesn't just step over the sidelines. She takes a running leap.
We asked Granny if she would care to comment on these or any other allegations, but she declined our interview, although she did have this to say on a recent radio talk show.
Oh, flibberty-gibbet.
Granny, one woman dispensing love and vengeance with equal measure, refusing to answer to or apologize for either. I think it might have been Hector, Granny's long-suffering canine companion, who summed it up best. With Granny, sometimes you get the biscuit, sometimes you get the rolling pin.
You know, I don't care what her critics say. When the fight breaks out, I want her on my side, because I've had that homemade macaroni and cheese of hers.
Macaroni and cheese, Lenny? Come on. It's not even in the same league as a green bean casserole.
Hey, fellas, I got 2 words for you. Banana pudding.
Oh, I wish you hadn't said that. You know, isn't it just about time for the second half? Oh, yes, it is. We'll be back later.
The Acme Halftime Show. Brought to you by Acme. Acme. We add rockets to everything.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we'd like to direct your attention to midfield for a special halftime performance.
I love to sing about the moon and the June and the spring. I love to sing about a sky of blue or a T42, anything with a swing or two. And I love you, I love you, I love you. No major boat's gonna get me. Got through Yale with boola boola la dee do. Oh, microphone's got me. I love to sing. I love to wake up with the salsa in my mouth, wave the flag up with a cheer for Uncle Sammy and another for my mammy. I love to sing. I love to sing. I love to sing and never stop it to my papa. Wave the flag up with a cheer for Jackie Bunny and another for my mommy.
We love to sing.
How about a big hand for our halftime performance? And for Chip Duffy for use of his projector.
We'll be right back to Sylvester versus Tweety, the big game with John Madden and Pat Summerall on Cartoon Network.
They've been called second bananas. They've been called straight men. But most agree only one name really says it all.
Basically, we're there to make the Stars look better, and that's a responsibility, and I think that everyone will agree with me that we don't take lightly.
No, it's true. We may not get the best lines, but we move the story along.
Sidekick isn't a dirty word in this business anymore.
And I think we owe that in large part to the actors that came before us. I mean, look, Porky Pig had a full-fledged career as a star going, and he really only started doing his best work as a sidekick. And there's no shame in that.
Look, I ain't supposed to be here. I'm not a sidekick. I'm a co-star. My name is in the title, for crying out loud. What? I think I would know if I was a sidekick or not.
Now back to Sylvester versus Tweety with John Madden and Pat Summerall.
Well, the devil, they say, is in the details. Nick, what can we expect from Tweety in the second half?
You know, Lenny, you've got to look for a very relaxed Tweety in the second half. He has a commanding lead, so he's probably just going to kick back and let Granny get a few licks in. Now, you don't want to be a cat when Granny's got her dander up.
Jerry, man, your cat has his work cut out for him. You want to change your prediction?
Can't you fellas see that Sylvester, like all cats, is playing with this bird before he gets in for the kill? Sylvester has Tweety right where he wants him. And besides, Sylvester scores most of his points in the second half.
Jerry, come on. Sylvester has to score all his points in the second half.
Mark my words, Sylvester is going to explode in the fourth quarter.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see. We now take you back to the game and the beginning of the second half.
Hi, this is Pat Summerall along with John Madden, welcoming you back to Frizz-Freeling Coliseum, where so far Tweety has been doing nothing but sharpening his beak on Sylvester's ego. We also want to welcome those of you just joining us who've been watching F-Troop.
Well, Pat, if this second half is anywhere near as ugly as the first, Sylvester may be circling some wagons of his own.
Let's go down to the field where Sylvester is coming out of the locker room. Not exactly Kevin confidence. Sylvester's coach must have let loose some fireworks of his own.
I'd love to have been a fly on the wall in that locker room.
I hear there's plenty.
Look, Tweety's been killing Sylvester's ground game all day. So what does Sylvester do? He switches fields on Tweety.
Is that legal?
Well, some players will tell you no harm, no foul is almost a slogan in this league. But I'm here to tell you, these guys invented the phrase.
And all this time, I thought it came from Oakland.
Oh, that's very funny, Pat. I hear Jabberjaw's looking for writers.
Sylvester gets his first look at Tweety's offense. I've done that before.
Now that is why Tweety is winning this game right now. He knows when to use that line.
Let's look at the numbers. When Tweety uses the line, "I thought I'd throw a putty tat" in the first half, he's 97-0. When he waits until the second half to use it, he's 97-0.
But, Pat, every year I see franchises putting all their money into a goofy look, when a good line will always beat you 8 ways from Sunday.
Hello, breakfast.
Now that would be an example of a bad line.
There's a crab on the field. Sylvester's got his tippy toes on. He's picking up Tweety's signals.
Here's what confuses me. Look at the outside of the door. It's a louvered door, right? Now inside, it's solid, louvered, solid, louvered, solid. There's no consistent door for Sylvester to get a look at. He's always having to guess.
Maybe the outside is just decor, but it's solid on the inside for the guest's privacy.
Pat, I'm just throwing Sylvester a bone.
Something you kids should never do at home with your cats. Sylvester crosses the floor. He's got Tweety and he's going for the exit. But Granny blitzes.
You knew it was just a matter of time before she'd get in this game. But if I'm Sylvester, I still go ahead and swallow him, because he's going to take a beating anyway.
He takes the coward's route, and Granny swings anyway. She's backing him up like a closed exit on the freeway.
Remind me to never take a cruise on that boat. Look at the dust coming off those pillows.
Sylvester takes a seat, and Granny looks for the seam.
Wait a minute. I think she lost her glasses.
Good call.
Sylvester has to take advantage of this break.
He kicks them under the couch, sending them into no man's land.
No man's land is right. Let's look at that play. Sylvester uses that casual sidekick Donald O'Connor made famous years ago, sending those glasses into that dingy area of the field that the grounds crew always has trouble with. I'm talking about where you find things like used paper clips, dust bunnies, those sparkling hair bands with the balls, and any kind of crunchy snack that took a funny bounce.
And sticky pennies.
Well, I wasn't going to go that far.
Sylvester's heading downfield. He's right on Tweety's heels.
This is just good, solid man-to-man coverage.
Tweety finds a pair of glasses under the chair. They could be Granny's.
Even though her glasses were kicked under the couch.
Tweety finds an open Granny. Sylvester goes for the score and lands on a newly spectacled Granny. And it doesn't look like she liked it.
Pat, you come claws out with that much hang time, and you're going to stick when you land. Granny's probably just figuring that out.
She swings and misses. And Sylvester isn't sticking around for a better connection.
Now there's a good lesson rookies can learn from. Never assume you're off the field. That's going to make every highlight reel on sports tonight, and it could cost him in negotiations.
Rather than run another play, they're just going to wave goodbye to the clock as we reach the end of the third quarter with the score Tweety 53, Sylvester 3.
Is you wills or is you ain't my baby? Maybe baby's found somebody new. My baby is still my baby true.
As we come back, you're looking at an overhead shot of Frizz-Freeling Coliseum, taken from our very own Cartoon Network blimp, piloted by Captain Art Roach.
Here's a shot of an emu farm in New Hampshire.
This is from Rio Lobo.
You know what goes real great with Westerns? Corn nuts and jerky.
You're preaching to the choir, John. Let's head back to the game. While Granny and Tweety enjoy their lead, Sylvester goes for the steal.
He's gone for that paint bucket once before, and we saw what happened there. This looks pretty much like a pure suck-up move on Sylvester's part.
Sylvester's taking a big gamble here. Granny's no heavy sleeper. He's got Tweety off his perch.
And he's got Granny fooled all the way. Now that is some heads-up thinking. He may make his share of mistakes with some despair, but when that cat is on his game, he is on his game.
But hardly on model. He's got Tweety up the mast. John, this is a risky move here.
You're right. See, Tweety's got the kind of balanced offense you need to make a move like this. And I'm betting right about now old Sylvester would give about $100 for a good old-fashioned do-over.
Tweety makes the snap. Sylvester sets. And Sylvester is shaken up on that play. I'll tell you have to tip your hat to him. He is not giving up this game.
You know, Pat, we hear the phrase, hang in there, kid. He's thrown around a lot in this league. Well, I've talked to a lot of cats, and to a cat, they all say Sylvester is the one that hangs in there longer than... Okay, well, I never liked that poster anyway.
And there's a timeout on the field. We'll return in a moment with Tweety now leading 40 or 50-something to 3. Right now, the outlook is rather dismal for Sylvester.
You think his outlook is dismal? How about those big sponsors who bought ad time in the fourth quarter?
Those who do not remember history are condemned to repeat it. Right now, Sylvester's probably wishing he could see something on how to settle an upset stomach.
Well, you had to wonder when this game was going to start taking its toll. I don't think Crayola makes anything that looks like that.
Tweety goes for the cut. He's got it.
Sylvester doesn't like the looks of that at all.
He heads for the sideline, heads straight to the training room.
Boy, now I gotta tell you, that is what you call a professional cartoon sound effect. Let's hear that again. You know, you can have your splats and whacks and pows. Give me those big old guttural gurgles any day.
I like when they shake their heads and go real fast.
And you know, you can't teach that.
Well, whatever he gurgled seems to have worked. He's going after Tweety like it's still early in the first quarter.
Well, Pat, it's gut check time for Sylvester. He knows if he's going to win this game, he better do it now. Because in this league, clocks don't stop for pedestrians.
I'm not going to pretend to know what that means. Sylvester goes for a quick out.
They'll be smelling that all the way to Nova Scotia.
Tweety's back is against the wall. He goes for a Hail Queen Mary.
Talk about a page out of yesterday's playbook. Still, it doesn't look like Sylvester has seen that offense before.
Once again, he's looking puny. He's going to need another visit to that training room.
And once again, Tweety's mixing up his offense. He's been doing this all day long. And Sylvester's been getting fooled by it since the opening drive.
Get it all down.
John, it looks like this time Tweety's offense has backfired. Sylvester is firing short flare-outs left and right.
You're right, Pat. I don't think Tweety was counting on Sylvester still having this much fire in his belly.
It may be a case of too little, too late. But Sylvester could score on this drive. Oh, Pilgrim.
Oh, Pilgrim is right, Pat. If it weren't for bad luck, Sylvester would have no luck at all. He was seconds away from fresh-roasted canary. And once again, Granny was at the right place at exactly the right time.
Granny looks for her target. She fires. She misses. And she misses again.
That doesn't sound good.
John, I think this one is all over but the shouting. Let's look at that last play again.
Sylvester rounds the corner, runs straight into Granny. Granny looks for the target, and boom! What I didn't notice before was how big that blast was. It blew Tweety clear off his feet. Let's look at it again. See, normally, you have to go to a Die Hard movie to see this kind of slow-motion action.
And this has certainly been no buddy picture here today. It looks like Sylvester's just going to drop down and let time expire.
I thought I saw puppy tap.
And a souvenir for some lucky fan. And that's the end. The final score, Tweety 57, Sylvester 3. John, this was probably not what anybody had in mind.
Well, Pat, Sylvester came into this game as an underdog. And from the opening play, he was just outmatched, outplayed, and outsmarted on every single play. And I don't care how rough your tongue is, that's just something you can't lick.
Not in this league. Well, that's it for today's game, but before we send it back to the studio to Len, Nick, and Jerry, we want to remind everyone to stay tuned to Cartoon Network later on, where odds are it's probably Scooby-Doo.
Maybe he should have been here today. I don't think they've quite gotten all the goody out of that dog.
Not for the lack of trying. For John Madden, I'm Pat Summerall saying thanks for watching, and so long till next year.